Welcome back everyone, my name's Caleb Thompson if you didn't know, and I want to start off with an apology. I've been wanting to do weekly vlogs since the lockdown and try and get into the swing of things, bringing you guys more content, but I've just been absolutely smashed with work. Not a bad thing, I'm not complaining, it's just been a crazy last month. It's just been super busy, so just cleared out some of my jobs and slightly starting to get on top of things. But to make up for it, we've decided that we're gonna prep and enter little BJ in a team's winch challenge, which is going to be really interesting because we will be the underdog on 33s with no lockers and an electric winch. But I have faith that we're going to do all right because we've got a reasonably good team. We've got Adam in his buggy, he's got a TD42 in his little buggy. It's on 37-inch traps. I don't know if he's going to run those at the comp or not, but cool machine. And then we've got Ray, which you would have seen in the rigged episodes. He's got the supercharged 1UZ Jeep. He's got cruiser axles and a god winch, etc. So it's a pretty well set up machine. And then of course we've got a little BJ 33s supercharged 2.2, and I've got a really heavy right foot, so I've got to do lots of prep to make sure it doesn't fall to bits on the trailer on the way up there, and then it lasts the 2 days of getting a beat down. Right, so step one, make yourself a list. Grab a pen and paper, or if you're lucky like me and you've got whiteboard in the shed, write down your list of everything you can think of. Oils, your other fluids, your brake pads, axle seals, spare parts list, fuel plan, power steering, brakes, all that stuff. Go through all of it, because if you're competing, anything can go wrong, so you want to give yourself the best chance possible to make sure that you're up to scratch and you can beat on it all weekend. So I've done that, and I'm on to step two, which is I've just sprayed motor muck all over here. This is the third wash I'm giving it. First wash was everywhere. Second wash, I lifted it up with the engine crane, washed everywhere and underneath it, but in doing so that happened to push all the mud up here, which I didn't see until I got it into the shop last night, and she's pretty filthy in here. And I kind of like a clean shop. I try and keep my shop as clean as possible, and I don't like muddy trucks knocking crap in my eyes when I'm underneath. So I'll spend the time washing it, then we'll put it inside, we'll throw it on the hoist, and then we've got some axle seals to rebuild, a winch to fit, batteries to fit, we're going to move the radiator. We got a good list, so that's going to keep us busy. So what we're going to do is we'll bring you some episodes of me in the shop prepping, and then we'll bring you some episodes of us competing, and it should be a bit of fun. Wish us luck, and let us know down in the comments below if you think I'm going to miss something, and if you think we're going to come dead last or not, because I reckon we are. It's the underdog. Little BJ is going to be like a handbrake for the rest of the team, but it'll be fun. Right, so day one of prep is going fantastic. Andrew's come here to help me, and we have successfully turned it into a project. Made some executive decisions. Radiator's going in the back, winch is going in the front, battery's going in the front. Just a big job now. Well, we're back in the shed again, and it's the weekend. I didn't really get a whole lot done this week, not as much as I wanted. Had a busy week doing things. But I do have radiator is in the back. I had some scrap brackets lying around, so just got to make up some mounts. Well, I've made the mounts. Just have to clean it up, weld them on the bottom here, and weld these in here, and put a rubber isolator in between because it's aluminium radiator. And yeah, it's going good. And I've picked up a new axle, so Tight Squeeze is going to donate the chromollies out of the front, and I've got this axle here which I bought, which has a high pinion 488 in it, and we've got RCVs inside. So the RCV axles, because they are much better and actually stick to their word on their warranty, they go in Tight Squeeze because it's got big bad tires, and then the other chromoly axles are going to go into little BJ because we're on Hilux axles, of course. Winch is in, and I'm gonna mount the solenoid. I had ordered some lugs this week, so we got some 70mm square to 8mm hole lugs so that we can do that. Because if we look in my magic bin over here, I have this 70mm square cable. Now the trick to getting winches to go good is to supply them with enough power. And if you got the factory cables, yes, they're okay, but they can go better if they got more power. So basically, as you know, the battery is going in the front here, and it's literally going to be a 200mm run, you know, well, to the solenoid and then etc. But it's going to be nice and short runs. Everything's going to be mounted locally here with big cables, so that's going to make a difference to how the winch performs, which is cool. And this 9,500 pound Nova winch has a faster gear set in it than the 12,500 pound, still has the same free spool, etc. If you look at this, is my favorite part. We spin this around into free spool, and we grab this down here, one finger. That's a nice free spool, and it probably would have been nicer if it wasn't pulling cables in. Yeah, free spool on these winches is fantastic, and I really do rate the winch. They are really well made, good winch, and I'm not quite sure what to do yet. This free spool obviously being in here is a little bit awkward, and I don't really want to cut the grill out if I can help it. I'm not one of those guys. I don't like cutting grills up for no reason. So I might borrow more parts from Tight Squeeze. Borrow, not steal, is the key word there. I do have an air tank sitting in here somewhere, here, so I might pinch the air tank, and then I can get an air free spool from Force 4. They do an air free spool for these Nova winches, so if we put the tank in somewhere, run the free spool, then at least we can have in-cab control, and we don't need to get in there at all, which is good. So yeah, I had a busy weekend ahead of me. I think Andrew's coming down tomorrow to give me a hand, but basically I've got this axle to strip down. As you saw, I've got the axle kit for it, so I'll swap out the axles, put the chromollies in. I'm going to put the Force 4 hubs on it probably, just purely because the Force 4 hubs, and this is going to sound awkward to say, the Force 4 hubs are really strong, but they're not as strong as the ASIN hubs or a dry flange. And so if you put the dry flanges on, there's no give whatsoever. So you're either going to break an axle or your diff. And if you put the ASIN hubs on, they're also almost like putting dry flanges on. Fantastic, strong hub, but again, you're going to start blowing things. And the Force 4 hubs are really strong, and they hold up well to 35s. That's not an issue, but I prefer having the weakest link at the end of the axle. So I'm going to run those, because I'd rather blow a hub to pieces than blow an axle or a diff head and then be out of the competition, or have to strip down the whole lot while it's covered in mud, etc. So that's kind of my thinking behind that. It is what it is. It's just the way I'd rather have an easy part to change. Same with when we used to have the Nissan Safaris with the PTOs. We'd put the PTOs used to always blow the shear pins. So you'd drill out the rear and put a cap screw in the rear so it's really strong, 12.9 rated, and then you'd put a 4.6 bolt in the front, and then when it would shear off, it was at the front, it was nice and easy, knock out the old bolt, put the new one in, and you're away again. So yeah, just you got to try to make your life easier, especially when you want to go do dumb stuff. you just think about it a little bit. How do you make your life easier when it breaks with minimal tools and no power in the middle of nowhere? So yeah, I'm gonna carry on and get stuck into lots of things. Wish me luck. Rightio, quick, dirty and easy radiator install is done. Just glued that on there, made another one for the other side, and it's just welded to there, bolted into place. These already had bolt holes in this radiator, so I just went with that option. Super strong, and drilled out the bottom, and we've got rubber grommets in the bottom, and I'll put a rubber isolator in between here. Right, next job, cooling. Got a couple of spout fans. Don't think I'm going to use one, even though I don't think I'm going to use this one, I should say, even though it seriously moves some air. It's always worth investing in good fans when you're doing a cooling system. Spout fans are fantastic, slightly expensive, but you can get second-hand ones. This one's probably the one I'm going to use, which is actually off a Polaris. It's off a Razor, so it's got some funky mounts on it. I think it still pulls 1200 or so cubic feet a minute. It boogies, goes good. Like the two electric fans that were in here on the radiator that came out of the front, I don't know what they're rated to. I have no idea. They're just unbranded cheap fans, and both of them together feel about half as powerful as this one does. So we'll throw this one on the back. Lucky I got a scrap piece of aluminium the other day. It's the same material as aluminum for our friends in the US that are watching. Just we spell it different, and ours is probably stronger because, well, because New Zealand, that's why. Alright, so I got this piece of scrap, turned up at work the other day. So I'm just going to hack it up, cut a hole in it with a plasma cutter most likely, and we'll do some TIG welding practice and burn some holes in it. But bush truck, it'll work, and yeah, so let's carry on with that. So, got this cut out and made these cuts so that when we fold it up, it works, and do a weld down the edge. Just wanted to show you guys a quick tip. Right, and this only applies if you got a plasma cutter. I needed a way to cut my circle. You know, I don't want to square cut it and make it all horrible or whatever. So I drilled a 6mm hole, got a 6mm bolt, and can you see under that? Yep. Stack of washers, and drilled a hole the same size as my plasma tip here. And when we put the plasma in it, all we have to do is pull the trigger and swing it around. And we end up with a perfect circle. Sometimes 5 minutes of work can save you a whole bunch of time afterwards. So let me fire up this plasma and get this cut. So that went horribly, and I think it was because it was earthing out on the steel that I made to trace it with, and so it was like trying to arc out on the piece on it instead of the piece under it, so it cut like crap. But at least we have a circle. It's what we were here for. End goals, that's fine. So I'll tidy that up with the grinder, and then look at drilling some holes for the fans. Well, fold it up, weld the edges, and then figure out how to attach it, I suppose. Probably a good thing. So yeah, let me get stuck into that. Right, so here is another redneck tip for you. Right, I don't have a finger brake or a folder or anything, so basically Smacked that end down over the edge of this, clamped it down, used my rubber mallet, and then obviously that wouldn't work for the rest of it. So I had that box, folded the other two over the box, and then you get to the last one. How do you do it? Well, you can't. So grab a piece of angle, that's your straight edge, clamp it down, and there's your handles. Now you can fold it. Watch this, this is going to be a live fail. You just know it. The theory's good, should work fine. Told you it was going to be a fail. Should have put more banks on, but that's alright, we can finish this on the ground. Just like that. Fit for a bush trip. Made with mostly inexpensive tools. Yes, it's ugly, but it's exactly what that thing needs. Because fancy is going to break that thing. So, yeah, drill some holes, make some mounts, job done.